We're back for our daily college basketball best bets here on Thursday, November 20th. We've got a good amount of games today here for college basketball. We are approaching the beginning of Feast Week. I don't know if you want to include this in Feast Week, obviously, with all of the tournaments starting up over the Thanksgiving week. But regardless, though, we've got a lot of games today. We've got some neutral site games as Purdue is in the Bahamas taking on Memphis. We're not going to talk about that, but we have a bunch of games being played in Kansas City. Again, the start of the tournaments are kind of today, so we'll get into that obviously next week. It was just nothing but tournaments again for the entirety of those 7 days. But folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Yesterday, not a great day, 2-3. It is what it is. I mean, could have been better. Shout out to Weber State closing out the night all right. I guess they almost choked it against not against Arkansas State, against Campbell, St. Mary's. Arkansas State just didn't stop scoring. That one was weird. And then South Carolina Upstate. I'm not going to go over every single game. Shout out to the Wildcats. But South Carolina Upstate, guys, they might be banned. That was the most disgusting effort I've ever seen out of a basketball team. I don't know if you guys watched Tennessee Tech versus SC Upstate, USC Upstate. Competitive game. Second half is all Tennessee Tech in the lead, but the Spartans are in it for USC Upstate. And I'm not joking. They went 2 for 10 from the free throw line in the second half. And they shot 19% in the entire game from the three-point line. They shot 5% from the three-point line in the second half. And they shot 2 for 10 from the free throw line with a bunch of 1-and-1s in the second half. They lost the game by 4 points. And it was really, they were down by 2, and then Tennessee Tech hit 2 free throws at the end of the game. Unbelievable stuff. You suck, USC Upstate. That's all I gotta say about that. Anyways, again, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. More daily college basketball best bets and daily NBA best bets here on the channel. Again, this will be out in a couple hours. Also, college football predictions have been posted on the channel, and our NFL predictions have both been posted on the channel, linked in the description down below. Also, go make sure to check out our UFC Fight Night Qatar full card predictions. Arman Tsarukyan taking on Dan Hooker. The best bets for UFC Qatar will be out later today at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. On to the first of our 5 best bets today, kicking things off with a neutral site game. Even though it's going to feel like a home game for Central Florida, it's in Daytona Beach, Florida, which, if I'm not mistaken, is like 30-ish, 45 minutes away from Orlando, where UCF's at, and we've got the UCF Knights hosting the Pitt Panthers. Give me UCF, okay? I know Pitt, the advanced metrics might tell us that, Pitt is a better team than them, and they are expected to win. ESPN's probability rate has Pittsburgh as a 60% favorite in a game that they're only favored by a point to win. I don't care. I just don't. I'm taking Central Florida. I think Central Florida is going to be okay in this spot. Pittsburgh, again, coming down to Florida for this game. It's basically a home game for the UCF Knights. Now, what crowd are they going to bring to this game? I don't know, but I like UCF enough in this spot. And I understand Central Florida has played some mid-majors way too close. They played Hofstra in a 4-point game. They won, but they beat Hofstra 82-78. They played the Oakland Bears and only beat them by 4 points, 87-83. They did go to A&M, though, and beat them by 12 points, oddly enough, and their loss this season for the Knights is against Vandy, losing by 12 points, 105-93. But I have enough confidence in the Central Florida team to win this game, led in scoring currently by Riley Kugel. And if you don't know about Central Florida, they literally it's an entirely new team this year. There's not a single returning player to UCF this season. They had a couple guys graduate. Jordan Ivy Curry, Darius Johnson, Debo Coleman were amongst the guys who graduated. And then obviously one of the big time players from last season, Keyshawn Hall, transferred. Central Florida, completely new team. 15 new guys in the roster, and so far it has been Riley Kugel has led them in scoring with 18 points per night. This is a transfer from Mississippi State and then started at Florida, now here at UCF. There's guys on this UCF team. It's just a bunch of, again, guys who either couldn't make it or were bench players at power programs or were good players at mid-majors, and now they've just joined forces to make up this UCF Knight squad. Again, Kugel and Jordan Burks are going to be, and Jamichael Stillwell are going to be the 3 leading players in this team. Burks, a junior out of Decatur, Alabama, played at Georgetown last season, started his career at Kentucky. Jamichael Stillwell is a senior, played at Milwaukee last season, started for Milwaukee last year. He's probably going to be their best defensive forward. Again, you're just getting a bunch of guys who I don't want to say are thrown together, but a bunch of guys who have just played 5 games in the same team with each other, and now they're taking on the Pittsburgh Panthers. I can't pick Pittsburgh after they lost to WVU by 20-plus points in the backyard brawl. And I understand, rivalry game, Pitt WVU, I get it. There was like 13,000 people in Morgantown watching that game, hostile environment, I understand. That is the only competitive game we have right now for Pittsburgh. in terms of, teams that they should be competitive with. They beat Youngstown State, they beat Longwood, they beat EMU by 12 points, and they're coming off a victory blowing out Bucknell. Obviously, Bucknell's not the same with Noah Williamson transferring to Alabama, who was their legitimately only scorer last season. I haven't seen Pitt against a good team yet, and the one half-decent team we've seen them play, it was not a competitive game, right? I mean, they get held to 25 points in the first half, 24 points in the second half. They score 49 points total in a 40-minute basketball game. I mean, and I know, again, you can say, oh, it's a rivalry game, backyard brawl. I get it. You only score 49 points. I mean, WVU played great defense, but you shot 35% from the field. You shot 25% from the three-point line. You didn't get to the free throw line at all either. I mean, it's just a bad game play. And it's not like, oh, this is just a defensive struggle the entire time. WVU is finding their opportunities. I mean, I think UCF gets this one. Again, I cannot trust Pittsburgh after the only game against another big-time school. They got completely blown out. And I don't love the neutral site for them here because UCF is getting on a bus and going 30 minutes to Daytona Beach, and Pittsburgh, again, is traveling down here. I know, again, it's not the furthest trip for the Pitt Panthers, but regardless, if there's going to be any sense of home court advantage, it will come with the Central Florida Knights. And I know UCF, right, so far, again, a 4-1 team. We shall see competitive games against Oakland and Hofstra, but just how these two teams play, UCF, very offensive driven. They're going to push a pace. They're trying, again, to always work the ball down court. And for Pitt, it's not too much of an offensive-minded team. They are going to play these, low-scoring, gritty games. I don't think they can keep up with UCF, and I completely understand UCF is made up of completely new players from last season, but I do think they beat the Pitt Panthers, who are led by Cameron Corrin, averaging 14 points per game in his senior season. Started at Florida State, now at Pitt. Again, he's the best guy on this team, essentially averaging a double-double so far with 14 and 10, but ultimately, I'm going to side with the Central Florida Knights to win the basketball game, and we get them as underdogs here. A little bit of a surprising line, not going to lie. Give me Central Florida in Daytona Beach, minus 105 to pick up the victory over the Pittsburgh Panthers. We move on now to our second best bet of the video, and we move to another game in the state of Florida, as we've got the Miami Hurricanes hosting Elon. Give me Miami. Give me Miami to not cover. Give me Elon. I don't know why it's in Miami. Miami should win the basketball game. They should, but I'm going to take Elon here to cover. 20.5 points to me just feels like too many. I know we did pick Miami in their last game to cover against the Florida Gators, and ultimately that did not go our way, but 20 points, I don't know. I mean, okay, I get it. The Hurricanes have blown out Stetson. They blew out Bethune-Cookman. They blew out Jacksonville. None of those teams are all that good. Jacksonville's won one Division I basketball game so far this season. Stetson, I think, is 1-3. They're 2-3. Their only win is Howard in Division I basketball. And then Miami's other victory is Bethune-Cookman, who play in the SWAC. And I get it. They're one of the better SWAC teams. And they did just beat Ohio. But come on now. Miami has not beaten a good mid-major squad. Here's the Elon Phoenix. Now, again, how good is Elon going to be? I don't know. But they are part of the daunted CAA. Of course, we talked about it a couple days ago with the UNC Wilmington Seahawks, the best team in the CAA. Elon is part of this conference, though, and it's a very good, really, other than the bottom feeders, the CAA is a tremendous conference with a lot of very good mid-major basketball teams. Elon is one of them. Elon's a team that's going to stay in a basketball game, and they are going to score. And that's why I believe, stylistically, this matches up really well with the Miami Hurricanes. Will they beat Miami? Probably not. Again, Elon was a team last season that somehow found their way into the CBI. I don't know how. They were an under 500 team in the CAA because they had a very bad second half of conference play last season. But regardless, they're a team that found themselves in the CBI and lost to the Army Black Knights, but it's okay. What they do this year is they just keep on scoring. And again, when you get a 20.5 point line, stylistically, that favors us here taking the points with Elon. Because it's just how many points can Miami really get away from them? And yes, they beat Jacksonville by 20 plus. They beat Bethune-Cookman by exactly 40. They beat Stetson by 41 points. None of those teams score like the Elon Phoenix do. And none of those teams have a player like Chandler Cuthrell. Cuthrell, a senior forward for the Elon Phoenix, was never really a standout player at the other mid-majors he played at. UTSA, he averaged 5 points a game. At Purdue Fort Wayne, he averaged 7 points per game, and so far for Elon, he has been established as the #1 scorer, and he's averaging 24.5 points a game right now, which is the 6th highest right now in all of college basketball. And you look at his numbers, 21 points against a Division II school, whatever, 20 points on the road at UNC Greensboro, and a huge victory for the Phoenix, winning that game in overtime. Losing at Marshall in Huntington, West Virginia, but still putting up 28 points for Cuthrell. His team ends up losing the game by 7 points. And their last game, their home appearance against Gardner-Webb, Cuthrell with a season high and a career high with 29 points. Again, those other teams the Hurricanes have played don't have a player like Cuthrell that can attack the hoop and score at will. He's by far the best player so far on this Elon team. There's some other scorers as well, and Randall Pettis, Casper Klasick, and Bryson Coakley, all three of those guys average over 10 points per game. But again, the guy that, at least so far this season, I've been most familiar with, just looking over some Elon stuff, is Chandler Cuthrell. Again, every single game, pretty much, he is their leading guy. I think Klasick's been playing well from what I've seen. Again, this is a senior forward out of Poland, played at St. Joseph's, the Hawks, to start his career, and then went to UAlbany last season, started for UAlbany, and now, again, he's here at Elon. It's a good collection of mid-major players. It really is. You know how much I like the CAA. There's so many good teams over there. Again, UNC Wilmington, by far the best team. That just goes to show how good the Seahawks are every single season, or really the last couple seasons. But anyways, I think Elon should be able to cover the 20.5 points in Miami. Now, for the Hurricanes, right, I know they have a team. I completely understand. We talked about Miami last weekend when they played the Florida Gators, and they've had some time since that game, again, to really, I guess, regroup. I mean, they played on Sunday, and now they're back here against Elon. Are they in a tournament over Thanksgiving? I'm pretty sure they are. They're in the Players Classic, right? No. They're in some invitational. Oh, they're only playing one game? Okay, I thought they were in a... Are they not in the Players Classic? I guess they're not. They didn't get invited. Miami's going to be playing BYU, though, on Thanksgiving Day itself. Regardless, though, they have 2 more games before the Thanksgiving matchup against Brigham Young. They have Elon here in Delaware State. This is not going to be a straight-up tune-up game for the Hurricanes. This is going to be a lot more difficult, I think, than at least it was sold to them to be. And I know, again, we talked about Miami quite a bit. This is a squad that we did think was going to cover 10.5 points against Florida. Now, they didn't. They got really close to covering that line. Obviously, did not get there. And Miami last season was absolutely atrocious. Worst team in the ACC. They were absolutely awful. I understand. They're much better, obviously, now. They went into the transfer portal, and like Miami should be able to do, obviously, they went out and acquired a lot of players, obviously put up big money, and obviously got some big-time players. The main of which would be Malik Reneau, the former Indiana Hoosier. Reneau is back for his senior season. Again, kind of fell out of sorts last season. Right, really fell out of favor with Mike Woodson at times last year through the injuries and whatnot. He's now obviously the guy with the Hurricanes. Trey Donaldson, obviously transferred from Michigan's on this team. True Washington, the former New Mexico Lobo, on the squad as well. There are some good players on Miami, do not get me wrong. Ernest Udeh has been playing pretty well down low too. Again, they've got guys. I'm not going to deny that. I think by far Miami's the better basketball team. I just think Elon covers here. I think, again, the way that the Phoenix play, they match your points. They will not let you completely bury them. And giving them 20.5 should be fine. I think this final score is really around 10-ish points for Miami. I really don't think they entirely know what's coming at them in this game because of truly how good the Elon Phoenix are. So I'm going to be going with Elon here to cover. I'm going to take Elon to cover the 20.5 points. I do think this is a good enough line for us. I'm going to take the Phoenix again to cover on the road in Miami. Anyways, we move on now to our third best bet of the video. We go to a matchup here with 2 mid-majors between Rice and Tarleton State. I'm going to go with the Rice Owls minus 3.5 here at home. When I look at this game on paper, I do just believe Rice is way better than Tarleton State. And from what I've seen again out of both these teams so far this season, I do believe Rice is just the better basketball team. And I understand they have struggled earlier in the season. Look who they've played and look who Tarleton State has played. They both played really good teams, don't get me wrong. But Tarleton State's victories over in the WAC, or again, they are from the WAC conference, obviously no conference games just yet. They beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they beat Merrimack, and they beat Angelo State, which I can only assume is a Division II school. Tarleton State's losses, blown out at SMU, blown out at Louisiana State, and losing a somewhat competitive game, but ultimately still losing by double digits in Waco to the Baylor Bears. For Rice, again, I think it's just a matter of who they've played too. They were very competitive at Oregon. And I know, again, Oregon struggled out the gates this season, had a very competitive game against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, was playing South Dakota State fairly competitively, but watching Oregon play Oregon State, I know, again, the Beavs still covered for us the other night, but watching Oregon against Oregon State can kind of show, okay, the Ducks are still very solid. Jackson Shellstad is very good. Nate Biddle, while he can be annoying if you're betting against him, he can grab a lot of rebounds because he just outsizes a lot of guys, especially on mid-major teams such as Rice. Anyways, though, again, the Rice Owls bounce back after the Oregon and SF Austin losses. They go out and beat East Texas A&M, who I understand is absolutely pitiful. I completely get that. And then a loss to Tennessee. My big thing here, though, is Rice is at home. And I do think that makes a legitimate difference. I understand both these teams do play in Texas, and I get it. Rice did host SF Austin. I don't think Tarleton State, though, is better than SF Austin. I don't think so. And their victories are nothing to really, hold too high. I mean, A&M Corpus Christi is not expected to be anything this season. The Islanders, I think, are one of the worst teams in the Southland Conference. Obviously, they just go out and take their beatings and buy games every single night, but I don't think the Islanders are very good. And then for Merrimack, I mean, I don't think anybody's expecting anything of the Merrimack Warriors this season. I understand they play in the Metro Atlantic, which is not a very good conference, I understand. But anyways, well, there's teams. How about Iona right now? How about Iona? Just saying, the Gales out of New Rochelle, they're balling. But I don't expect Merrimack to be much this season. So I think Rice is legitimately fine here. At home too, I like that spot in the Tudor Fieldhouse in Houston, Texas. Rice obviously out of the American Conference, led by Nick Anderson and Trey Brodnax. Nick Anderson's been playing really good basketball. Again, this was a guy who was the player last season on Prairie View A&M, dealt with injuries, but averaged 19 points a game last season for Prairie View, now here at Rice. For Trey, this is a senior guard who was at SC Upstate, playing at Rice last season. Is a good player, averaged about 12 points per game last year for the Rice Owls. Now he's back again, averaging 14. But to me, again, Nick Anderson is the guy. They play relatively small. Jimmy Oludekun plays at the 5. Again, did all right against Nate Biddle. Averaging 5 points a game and 6 rebounds. He is going to pretty much function as their big. It's him and Trinity Ugeji, who's 6'6", who will kind of rotate in that like 4-ish 5 role. It's going to be Oludekun, who is their 5. As for the Tarleton State Texans, again, playing out the WAC, which who knows what the future of that conference is going to be. They're led by Dior Johnson, who averages 23 points per game. Beyond Dior Johnson, it is not that hot of a team. Dior Johnson's really good, and he puts up a bunch of shots. He did score 42 in the Baylor game, which happened to be exactly half of his team's points. More than half of his team's points, which is kind of ridiculous. Dior Johnson was a player who was underutilized, you can say, last season at UCF. Played in pretty much every single game, but didn't really get much run. Was primarily a 6 to 8 minutes per night guy off the bench. He's come to Tarleton State. He doesn't start, but he comes off the bench and just fires up shots. He averages 23 points per game currently, again, for a player who is coming off of the bench for the Tarleton State Texans, averaging 31 minutes, again, currently off the bench for Tarleton State, and takes over half of this team's shots. What? That's odd. I'm going Rice. Because beyond Dior Johnson, and the biggest example of this is watch Tarleton State play Baylor. Dior Johnson takes every single shot. Every single shot. He scores 42 points. He goes 17 for 24 on the field, which is ridiculous. 6 or 7 at the line. There's only one more player on this team that scores more than 10 points. There's only one more player on this team that scores more than 6 points, and that's Freddie Hicks. Senior guard on the squad who's been playing college basketball for forever, played 3 years at Tarleton State, then went to Arkansas State, now is playing 2 more years at Arkansas State. I think he got injured last year. I believe he used last year as a medical redshirt year. It is supposed to be a senior season. So it is what it is. I think Rice wins this basketball game. I really think so. They're at home. That should give them the boost needed, I believe. To me, again, 2 really close teams on paper. I think Rice at home puts them over the top. I know Rice, again, has not really, gotten that big-time win just yet, but they're going to need something before they go to a little mid-major tournament over the week, or over, obviously, during Thanksgiving week. They're going to go to the... Oh, my goodness, I read that really quick, and I thought it said something else. They're going to the Coconut Hoops Tarpon Bay Division Classic. I thought that said something else. I was like, there's really a tampon ad thing on the Coconut Hoops division? I don't know. I saw it real quick from afar, like, what? Anyways, I'm going to be going here with the Rice minus 2.5 at home to cover. 3.5 at home to cover against Tarleton State. Again, at home, it should boost them over the top, I believe. And if you can shut down Dior Johnson, who comes off the bench, I think Rice should be fine. So give me the Owls. Move on now to our next game, and we go to a matchup from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri, not to be confused with the T-Mobile Arena, which is obviously the home of the Vegas Golden Knights in the UFC in Las Vegas, but to Kansas City, which is a relative home game for the K-State Wildcats, as they, I guess, will host / take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Now, I don't know where this line is going to be. I think it's going to be anywhere from minus 150 to minus 135 on the money line in terms of a spread. Again, we might get it from 2.5 to 1.5. If the spread / money line moves to 1.5 and like minus 135, I'd say to take the money line at that point. I do believe Mississippi State is still going to win this game by more than 2.5 points. But if we get this line at, I don't know, minus 130 for tip, just straight money line, just take it. And you don't need to spread this. You don't need to sweat, the 2.5 or the 1.5 points. We can just play money line. Again, if possible, I always look to take money line at minus 150. I'd rather just take the 2.5 because I think, again, Mississippi State should be good enough to cover this line. Regardless, they're taking on Kansas State. K-State looked so bad in their last game. They survived barely, almost losing it to the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. You were 13.5-point favorites, and they almost lost to Tulsa on their own home court. I mean, they were up 8 points late, and then Tulsa made a big push, took the lead with 2 minutes to go. Actually took a 4-point lead with 50 seconds. And then K-State found their way back into the basketball game. There was a couple turnovers for Tulsa down the stretch, and K-State found a way to win. Good for them, they survived. Ultimately, though, it's a game they should have lost. It is really a game they should have lost to Tulsa. Tulsa could not execute, and now K-State has to bounce back and take on Mississippi State. Now, here's the thing about Mississippi State. They're 2-1 this season, lost to Iowa State earlier in the year, played the Cyclones in a neutral site, played them in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the Sanford Pentagon. Home of the Summit League tournament at the end of the year. But anyways, Mississippi State's a 2-1 team, lost the game to Iowa State, wins over North Alabama in a blowout over the A-Suns North Alabama, and then a surprisingly close game against Southeastern Louisiana, only winning the game 75-68. Now, if you've watched Mississippi State basketball ever, you know who leads this team, and you know who takes, kind of like D.R. Johnson, who takes all of their shots. Of course, I'm referring to Josh Hubbard. Now, Josh Hubbard in his freshman year, it was pretty clear right away, he's the guy. There would be games where Josh Hubbard would come off the bench and he would play 30 minutes a night off the bench. He'd play all the clutch minutes, and okay, it'd be ridiculous. I'd wake up in the morning, go to the SEC network and watch, I don't know, Mississippi State play Florida or Auburn or Mississippi, and the game would start, Hubbard would come off the bench, and then by the time the game's over, he's still dropping 25 points and shooting 10 threes, but he's still a bench player. Obviously, last year, Josh Hubbard started every single game for the Bulldogs. He scored 19 points a night. Mississippi State was okay last year. They were all right. Got into the tournament as an 8 seed. I say that they were okay because of how they relatively were in the SEC. A lot of games felt the same for Mississippi State, and it has felt like this for the last couple of seasons. How many points can Josh Hubbard put up? And it's fair. I think he's going to put up, by the way, a lot of points tonight against K-State, and I'll get to that in a second. But that's how Mississippi State functions. It is just Josh Hubbard. Now, they added a lot of pieces in the offseason, and obviously they lost a couple guys as well. Regardless, though, like they lost Cameron Matthews, who's absolutely huge for them last season at getting rebounds and whatnot. He was a senior. This team has gone out and basically put together a completely new starting lineup around Josh Hubbard. I understand they had 3 seniors who were starting for them last season, but anyways, Hubbard obviously at the 1. They are, I believe they've settled on this rotation. Again, we shall see what they do tonight. They brought in Jaden Epps to come off the bench. I thought he was going to start the season. Obviously, Epps played at Georgetown last year. He's in his senior year. They're bringing him off the bench, and instead they are starting. They're starting Sean Jones at the 2 guard instead. Jones is a senior as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, senior, primarily bench player last year from Mississippi State, but he's starting now for this team. At the 3 spot, they are starting. They brought in Brandon Walker too, who's supposed to be a big senior. They brought him from Montana State. He's not really playing big minutes. Instead, they are starting Jabari McGee. Technically starting Jabari McGee at the 2, I guess. They're playing 2 point guards. It's Jabari McGee at the 2, Hubbard at the 1, and I guess technically Jones is a 3. And then you got Ballard and Accor at the 4 and the 5. Ballard at the 5, obviously, and Accor at the 4. Again, they're playing undersized a little bit, obviously, with their guard play, but then obviously Ballard is a pretty big center, 7 feet tall, played at Wichita State last season, started with Florida State, then went to Wichita, and then obviously at the 4, they have a core right now who's playing all right. a core from Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, averaging more rebounds than points, but that's just what he's on the court to do. Played limited games at K-State last season. Really got his start at Sanford. Anyways, though, Mississippi State, I mean, you know what the objective is, and you really don't need scorers in this team, and you basically, honestly, okay, here's the thing about Mississippi State. I don't mind what they did, because I know what they did. It's bring in a core who can get rebounds, bring in, to start, obviously, core again from K-State, bring in Quincy Ballard to grab rebounds and play interior defense. And this is the reason why I think they're not starting Jaden Epps, because Epps can score, so sure, let's take that off the bench. And the reason they're starting Jabari McGee is he's not a bad perimeter defender. And then also, again, you're starting Sean Jones, who was kind of just their number 2 option scoring-wise. And then obviously, I mean, you're doing all this because why? Josh Hubbard's your guy. And that's fair. Again, Josh Hubbard will just shoot all game long. It's what they've asked out of him from the second he walked into the doors, and he has continued to do so every single game that he plays. Doesn't matter if he's shooting particularly well, Josh Hubbard's going to launch 3-pointers the entire game. And he's going to make plays. Again, he was very talented as a freshman, and he's only gotten better. Again, I don't know what his, league potential is because he's 6 feet tall, and, every point guard can chuck up threes if they're the number 1 option at 6 feet tall. He's a good playmaker. He's not an elite playmaker in terms of, getting guys open. We shall see. Again, I don't know what Josh Hubbard's potential is going to be in the NBA someday. Anyways, though, the strategy is pretty clear what Mississippi State does right now. I think they're going to beat K-State tonight. I'm not impressed with the Wildcats, guys. This is a team that won their first 2 games over UNC Greensboro and Bellarmine, and then back-to-back wins over Cal and Tulsa, which, they look all right. You scored 90 and then 80 in the other game, 99, 84 in the other game, and PJ Haggerty, don't get me wrong, Haggerty from Memphis playing great basketball right now. He's averaging 26 points a night. It's because you get into all these high-scoring shootouts, and you let Tulsa and Cal take you down to the wire. Now, they were up huge against Cal. They were up at halftime like 25 points against the Cal Golden Bears. We had Cal spread that game. I was like, oh, okay, well, got shocked that one. Cal goes on like a 30-5 run in the second half and ends up covering. They almost won that basketball game at the end, but obviously Cal, I think we had 4.5. Cal lost by 3 points. I don't trust this K-State team. They're not, in the Tulsa game, they don't play well in the second half either. They're not a good second half team. And really, can they put together a good 40 minutes against a good team right now in Mississippi State, who I understand lost a game early in the year to Iowa State, but Iowa State's ranked. That's one of the better teams in the Big 12. K-State's beaten Cal, Tulsa, Bellarmine, Greensboro. Yeah, give me Mississippi State. And then where does K-State have to go next week? Oh, right. Bloomington. Ooh. Good luck with that one. Give me the Mississippi State Bulldogs in Kansas City -2.5. I don't think the home court really plays that big of a factor. Give me the Bulldogs. Next up, we go to our final game of the night. Guys, here we go. We need to combat this Hawaii crap tonight. I don't know why I've decided to hate watch every Hawaii game, but I'm doing it. Especially basketball. I can get behind Mike Alejado and the football team. We are hate watching Hawaii tonight. Something about that team on that island and the way that they play, the most unethical basketball ever, is the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. It's such unethical basketball, and it's such a pain in the ass to sit through and watch, guys. I've watched almost every Hawaii game so far on the island. Yeah, they played Oregon, but I'm really talking about the games. Hawaii on the island is annoying. On the continental U.S., we don't really care because they're not that good in the continental U.S. I know they played Oregon tough, but a lot of teams are playing Oregon tough. Okay, on that island, this is the most insufferable team to sit through. I mean, watch a full Hawaii game at home. They do nothing but sit at the free throw line the entire game. It is the worst. It is the absolute worst product to watch. I'm so serious. They are the luckiest team as well on that island, too. Things just go their way that would not go any other team's way. And I think I'm probably the first person to ever hate on Hawaii Rainbow Warriors basketball, but I will proudly be that first guy. Guys, Hawaii played a game this season where they shot 54 free throws in one game. Where East Texas A&M Commerce, they got put in the bonus. Hawaii got themselves in the bonus 4 minutes into the basketball game. Watch a Hawaii game, watch the referees, everything that's remotely contact, foul. Ball crosses half court, slight bump, foul. Goes up for a shot, foul. Layup, foul. It's the most insufferable viewing experience ever. So that's why we're hate watching. And you know what? Hawaii, they'll see their day where they lose one on the island. You do your Rainbow Classic where Oh, I wonder why Hawaii's won the Rainbow Classic 16 to 17 years. Because they invite the bummiest schools imaginable. No disrespect to the Delta Devils. Shout out to Mississippi Valley State. Manhattan, I'm sorry, you suck. I don't know what the hell happened to you. I've watched a couple Manhattan games this year. It has not gone well. So, not impressed. Anyways, and then you also invite Utah Tech. I wonder why Hawaii always wins their tournament on their island with their refs. Oh, they're Big West refs. No, they're Hawaii refs. Okay? It's a horrible watching experience, and they have the center, man, Isaac Johnson. Isaac Johnson, I'm not gonna deny he's a good player. He's okay. So what Isaac Johnson is the tallest player on Hawaii. He's 7 feet tall. What do they call him? Big Fish, I think they're calling him on the broadcast, and he does celebrations. Trust me, because I watch every Hawaii game because nothing else on 9 o'clock. He does this the damn, it's like it's like the, I don't know, a shark celebration. I don't know what he's trying to do. The gator celebration, but he just does this all the time. After every shot he hits, he does it. This dude is so, like, he's good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he hits a lot of threes. He could never make it at Utah State. I believe he was backing up Osibor a couple years ago, right? And then when Osibor left, he wasn't even playing there. Right? He would average like 6 minutes a night. And he comes to Hawaii, and all of a sudden he gets a 3-point ball now. All of a sudden, like, he's like he's a shit talker now. He gets into people's faces after he like does anything remotely cool. And it's like Hawaii's last game they were playing Manhattan, and Manhattan threw out a team of, two 5'11 guys, a 5'10 guy, 5'11 guy, a 6'3 small forward, a 6'5 4, and then a 6'6, 6'7 center. And Isaac Johnson's like, oh yeah, no, like obviously you're gonna get every board. Obviously you're gonna dunk on dudes. You're 7 feet tall. So he would dunk on a 5'11 guy who he's a whole foot taller than, and he'd get in his face and this dude got wide eyes, I'm like, dude, okay, obviously. I don't know. I'm just voicing my frustration watching Hawaii Rainbow Warriors basketball. So the question that I have with Arizona State is, can anyone stop this Isaac Johnson fellow? Yes. More Masamba Diop, the freshman out of Senegal. Don't get me wrong, Isaac Johnson's he looks like he's 25 and has a wife and kids, in his senior year playing college basketball. I think he's really only 22, so I'm not going to hate there. But dude looks like a grown-ass man. More Masamba Diop, who is I think he's 18. He's going to lock him down tonight. I think this is a massive human being in Diop. 7-1 from Senegal, starting center right now for the Arizona State Sun Devils. I don't think was supposed to be the starter at the beginning of the season. I think they were supposed to start, oh goodness, it was Truett, right? Are they starting both? Or I think they're playing both right now. I just know, again, that Diop's playing big-time minutes for them right now. Yeah, they are starting both. Okay. Yeah, so that's fine, honestly. They're going to play a big lineup, but that's, even better. They're playing the biggest lineup imaginable. You got a 7-1 center, and then Santiago Truett, who I thought was just going to be, I thought they were going to both play the 5. Regardless, they're going to play both of them. That's fine. Again, this is a team that's, I guess, making up for the loss of Quayton's last year. Jaden Quayton's obviously left in the portal because who doesn't leave in the transfer portal? I think ASU's way better than Hawaii, man. I think the only reason they're dogs is because they're playing on this damn island. And, Vegas is taking into account, the refs, travel, all this crap that goes on in the island. I don't actually dislike, the state of Hawaii, but something about Hawaii games on Spectrum, man, they get to you. They're just, especially when you're betting against the other team and you're forced to watch the Hawaii local broadcast, and then the announcers who have all their nicknames for the Hawaii players. Yeah, I think ASU's better than Hawaii, and legitimately, I can break this down so many ways. It all starts with stopping Isaac Johnson. He 100% fuels that entire team. Yeah, they got Dre Bullock as well and other guys, but no, it's all Isaac Johnson. Big Fish, again, they're calling him. It's all him. If Arizona State with Truett and Diop, who I believe Diop's going to be, who averages 2 blocks a game, by the way, those two guys, especially Diop, is going to be the Isaac Johnson stopper. So I would like to see Isaac Johnson talk shit to Masamba Diop, more Masamba Diop, who's 5 years younger than him and better than him. And then obviously Arizona State's right now, the leading scorer is Maurice Odom. If you watched West Coast ball last year, he's from Pepperdine, scored 1 million points in the West Coast tournament last year for the Waves. Now at ASU, he's their leading scorer. I don't think this team loses to Hawaii. I don't think so. They have way too much talent to lose this game. I'll be so disappointing in the Sun Devils if they can't win this one, man. I'll be very disappointed. Get it done. That's all I can say. Get this done so maybe Sam Levitt doesn't leave your school for Indiana. Okay. Anyways, give me the Arizona State Sun Devils. I just believe, again, I can break this down so many ways in terms of like, oh, look at the Hawaii guard play. It's all Isaac Johnson. That is, Dre Bullock can kind of shoot. He's not bad. They got Harry Rudolph, I believe his name is, forward, who can shoot a lot as well. It is all Isaac Johnson. Watching Hawaii basketball, like all their games this season, it's all up to him. If you can stop him, they're not that good. Give me the Sun Devils. They have way too much talent to lose this game, and they have big play to actually stop Isaac Johnson too. Arizona State plus 130. They're staying in Hawaii for quite a bit. They've got the Maui thing. I think it's a Maui. Yeah, it has to be. They've got the Maui tournament, the Maui Invitational coming up. But I'm taking, again, ASU before they play a whole tournament in Hawaii. Sun Devils plus 130 on the road to beat the Rainbow Warriors. Folks, thank you for watching our college basketball best bets here on November 20th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank you for watching, and Mamba forever.